Chapter 9. What happened to the reptiles? This is the story of a village called Pambupati, which was situated on the edge of the jungle. The narrator of the story, Prem, lived 100 miles away from Pambupati. Once, he ran away from his village as the people there fought in the name of religion. The cause of this situation was the burning down of a temple or a mosque in some distant place far away from Prem's village. But the news spread like fire and the whole village became mad. Many houses were burned down. One of the houses was Prem's house. Prem ran away from his village and reached Pambupati by chance. An old resident of the village looked after him. The old man gave him food, sweets, water, and all. He rubbed his feet and made him free from pain. Everyone from the neighborhood also visited him. Prem asked the old man to tell him about the place as it seemed strange to him. He had seen people fighting with others in the name of religion, but here it was different. The old man agreed to tell the story of that place and asked Prem to take that story to his village, hoping to heal the wounds of the people of that place. Prem spoke with anxiety and asked the old man not to ask him to return to that village, as after witnessing the rites there, he did not wish to return. The old man told him firmly that the disturbance of the place was a bigger reason for him to go there, as Prem was more interested in the story, so he didn't argue. Now, the story began. The old man said that during olden times there were no schools, children lived in caves with their parents and used to help them. At that point of time, there were no other animals in the jungle, but only reptiles were there. A large variety of reptiles were ruling the forest. The strongest and the biggest was Makara, the crocodile. All the animals thought of him as important. They often had a meeting once in the month, which was attended by each one of them. One day, a very strange thing happened. Just 1 week before the monthly meeting, Makara sent a letter to the tortoise telling them not to attend the meeting. The big old star tortoise, Ahiste, with black and yellow picture on his shell, felt angry. How could they speak like that to them? But not even a single tortoise had the courage to attend the meeting, as they were lesser in number. Before the start of the meeting, the big Makara polished his teeth with red flowers by the riverside till they started sparkling. Everyone was waiting for him. Makara addressed the meeting by calling them all brothers and sisters, and everyone stopped talking to listen to him. He said that he had decided that they did not need tortoise. He had told them not to come. He asked everyone if they knew why they did not like the tortoise. The reptiles looked here and there as they felt uneasy. They all became restless. The snakes hissed. Lizards shook their tails and the crocodiles opened their jaws even bigger. The lizard started to speak with "but." Makara screamed "no buts" and silenced her. Then the baby crocodile tried to say something with "I think," but Makara silenced it too by saying "no, I think." Makara spoke so loudly that the fruit from the tree above fell. After this, no one had the courage to speak. Makara cleared his throat and clarified the reason why they didn't like the tortoise. He explained that they were slow and stupid. They carried their houses on their backs. He asked lizards if they would carry their home, tree, on their back ever. The lizard answered in a fearful voice, "no," and tried to speak further saying "but." Makara again silenced them by saying "no buts." He further said that he had told the tortoise to leave Pambupati, and once they leave, all the reptiles who are left in the jungle would have more of everything: water, food, or space. He wanted them to leave the very next day, But because they were slow, he gave them 1 week's time to leave Pambupati. By next Tuesday, all tortoises left the jungle. In the beginning, all the animals were sad, but slowly they agreed with Makara as they were able to have more of everything. But very soon, a strange smell began to spread in the jungle. It was the smell of rotten fruits and animals which tortoise used to eat. Tortoise actually helped to keep the jungle clean and fresh. The smell was so strong that even Makara had to pass through the jungle by covering his nose. After a month, the same thing was repeated with snakes. Makara wrote them a letter, same as tortoise. They were asked to leave the forest, and as they were fast, the snakes were told to leave the place in a day. Naga, the head of the snakes, asked for some more time, but Makara did not agree. At the meeting, he silenced everyone, lizards, crocodiles, with his louder shouts and threats. Makara gave explanation to everyone that snakes were unpleasant animals to have around, and they made funny noises. Once again, no one had the courage to oppose Makara's decision, and finally, the snakes left. For some time, the animals were happy because now they had no fear of snakes. Snakes were very unpredictable, and at any time they could spit poison in anger and could kill others. After a few weeks, all the animals were tired and irritated, but the rats were happy as there were no snakes who would eat them. Rats even started eating eggs of crocodiles and lizards. Because of this, no new babies came in the forest that year. Now Makara had another plan. He called a meeting of crocodiles and expressed his wish to keep the whole jungle for themselves alone. He told them about the strange habit of lizards. He said that the lizards were not trustworthy as they changed their color. Makara announced that he wanted to get rid of those color-changing creatures. By that time, the crocodiles were afraid of Makara, so they supported and agreed to his idea. As a result, the lizards left the forest with their babies on their backs. Now, the crocodiles were all alone in the jungle, but instead of having a good time, strange things started happening. The rats became bolder and fearless. They started jumping on crocodiles' back. Even there were too many frogs in the jungle. They grew larger, and since there was no one to eat them, they started eating the baby crocodiles. As the lizards were gone, the insects grew in a large number. They also grew larger and more daring. All this made crocodiles' life more difficult. They failed to understand that what happened to their happy forest. One day at one of their meetings, a little voice raised and said that they all knew what wrong had been done to the forest. Everyone became silent. All looked at Makara with fear, but even Makara himself was very nervous. He asked the small crocodile, and as he started speaking about the exit of tortoise, Makara stopped him as he didn't want to accept his mistake. All the crocodiles now knew that Makara was not always right, and it was indeed his mistake. Therefore, they took a decision by their own and sent messages to all the animals to come back to the forest. It was called a great day when all the animals started coming back to the forest, carrying their little ones on the back, shouting at each other. They moved shabbily and hurriedly. In just 2 months, the forest became normal. The rats were not visible anymore. The insects and the smell was gone. Their world finally became normal. After narrating the story, grandfather asked Prem if he had fallen asleep and whether his story had sent him to dreamland. Prem shook his head and said that he was actually thinking that it was the right time to go back to his village and share this story with his people. But Prem was scared that no one would listen to him. Then the old man advised him that he had to tell that story again and again to more people. He said that people might laugh at it or call the story a fake one, but he had to keep telling it with hope that one day they would understand that each person has his own unique place in this world. The moral of the story? The story teaches us that how everyone plays an equally important role in the world. This world belongs to all sorts of creatures. Together they keep a balance. Every kind of creature serves a useful purpose, and in their absence, whole functioning is affected. Hence, it is necessary that everyone understands this and tries to live in peace and harmony. Thank you for watching.